The old man's eyes turned white as milk, and when he spoke, his voice echoed like thunder from the ancestors. What you have sown in cruelty, you shall reap in truth. Welcome to Our Tales, where African stories come alive. If you love tales that teach us about family, respect, and hidden truths, make sure to subscribe and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. Now, let's dive into today's story. Kemi and Tayo stepped out of their shiny black car, dust swirling around their expensive shoes. The village looked smaller than they remembered, much smaller. I can't believe Papa made us come to this place, Kemi complained, adjusting her gold jewelry. There's nothing here but dirt and old huts. Tayo nodded, checking his phone. No signal either. How do people live like this? The twins were 25 now, successful in the city. Kemi owned 3 beauty salons and Tayo had just bought his second restaurant. Their father, Chief Adebayo, was the richest merchant in Lagos. He had sent them to deliver money to his twin brother for their grandmother's burial ceremony. There, Tayo pointed to a small mud house with a corrugated iron roof. That must be Uncle Kunle's place. They found him behind the house, bent over a small garden, pulling weeds. His clothes were old and patched. His hands were rough and dirty from the soil. Uncle Kunle, Kemi called out, keeping her distance. The man looked up. For a moment, the twins gasped. Even covered in dirt and aged by sun and hard work, Uncle Kunle looked exactly like their father. Exactly. But Tayo recovered quickly. We brought money from Papa for Grandmama's burial. Uncle Kunle smiled warmly and walked toward them. But Kemi stepped back. Don't come too close, Uncle. You're dirty. Yes, Tayo laughed. Look at you, living like a peasant in this tiny house, farming like our great-grandfathers. Haven't you heard of progress? Uncle Kunle's smile faded slightly, but he remained calm. Your father and I chose different paths, my children. Different paths? Kemi snorted. Papa chose success. You chose this. She waved her hand at the simple surroundings. How embarrassing. Good thing our friends in Lagos don't know we have family like you. Tayo pulled out his phone to take pictures. Wait, let me get a photo of Uncle Farmer for the group chat. They won't believe this. Uncle Kunle raised his hand. Please, don't. Oh, are you shy? Kemi mocked. Ashamed of your precious garden, your little mud house? You should be ashamed. Tayo added. Papa built a business empire while you played with dirt. He drives a Mercedes, lives in a mansion, sends his children overseas for university. And you probably don't even have a bank account. Uncle Kunle stood very still. The wind stopped blowing. Even the chickens in the yard became quiet. Your father never told you, he said softly. Told us what? Kemi demanded. About the day we divided our inheritance. The twins looked at each other. Their father had never mentioned any inheritance division. Uncle Kunle walked to an old wooden box beside his house and pulled out a yellowed photograph. This was taken 50 years ago. In the picture, 2 young men stood beside their father. They looked identical, but one wore expensive clothes and gold chains, while the other wore simple cloth. Your father and I were born on the same day, same hour, Uncle Kunle continued. When our father died, he left us equal portions of land, money, and his trading business. Tayo grabbed the photo. So what happened? Your father convinced me to give him my share. He said he would use it to make us both rich, then share the profits with me. Kemi's eyes widened. And he took everything and moved to Lagos. I never saw him or the profits again. I had to start over with nothing but this small plot of land our grandfather gave me years before. The twins stood silent. This was not the story they knew. That's not possible, Tayo stammered. Papa is honest. He built his wealth through hard work. Uncle Kunle smiled sadly. Your father is my twin brother. I love him despite everything. But the wealth you enjoy, the cars, the houses, the money that paid for your education, half of it was originally mine. Suddenly, the old man's eyes began to change, turning cloudy white. When he spoke again, his voice carried the power of ancestral spirits. Children who mock the poor, who despise the humble, who build their pride on others' suffering, you will learn the weight of truth. What you have sown in cruelty, you shall reap in understanding. Thunder rumbled overhead, though the sky was clear. From today, when you touch money earned through greed, your hands will burn. When you eat food bought with stolen wealth, your mouths will taste only bitterness. When you sleep in beds built on lies, nightmares will haunt you. Only when you choose the path of justice will you find peace. The twins' expensive jewelry suddenly felt heavy as stones around their necks. Uncle, wait, Kemi cried, but Kunle had already turned back to his garden. That night, in their hotel in the nearest town, the twins couldn't eat. Every bite tasted like sand. Their gold chains burned their skin. Their soft beds felt like dawns. It took them 3 days to return to Lagos. And when they finally confronted their father, he broke down and confessed everything. I was young and greedy, Chief Adebayo wept. I thought I could fix it later, share the profits with them, but pride kept me from going back. The shame grew bigger every year. The next week, the twins returned to the village. But this time, they came with trucks full of supplies, building materials, and a legal document returning half of their father's business to Uncle Kunle. They found him in his garden, still pulling weeds, still smiling. Uncle, Kemi said, kneeling in the dirt beside him, we want to learn. Will you teach us how to farm? Uncle Kunle's eyes twinkled with joy. The soil teaches patience, children. But more than that, it teaches truth. You plant what you want to harvest. From that day forward, the twins split their time between city and village. They learned that real wealth isn't just money, it's family, respect, and living with a clean heart. And their father, he finally found the courage to embrace his twin brother after 50 years of shame. Sometimes, the richest people are those who have the least. And sometimes, the poorest person in the village holds the greatest treasure of all, forgiveness.